We'll get you out the door here quickly on this weather alert day. Earlier, it'll be a little bit easier to maybe head outside and walk that dog. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable. Temperatures into the 60s and 70s early on. We'll top out in the upper 70s later today. That's going to be fuel for some of these storms that we're going to be tracking possibly by about 4 and 5 o'clock. That's when I'm expecting those rain chances to really start to ramp back up. But I mentioned, again, that warmer weather, that humid weather that we're walking into this morning, that's eventually going to turn into fuel for some of those thunderstorms, and it can act like rocket fuel for some of them as they try to feed on that later today. Here's the latest look at future track as we go forward. The rest of this morning, again, likely not going to be looking at anything in terms of issues. We got a little disturbance rippling through northern Missouri. It might clip places like Macon later on as we get into our Monday. But the biggest concern is what's looming by about 4 and 5 o'clock as that front continues to work through. It's going to fire up some more showers and thunderstorms, but it looks like things are going to be fairly isolated in terms of that coverage. But anything and everything needs to be watched anytime after about 3 and 4 o'clock as we get into the hottest part of the day. That's where we have the most fuel for some of those storms. And then that's likely going to last until about midnight or maybe into the very early morning hours as we get into our Tuesday. Still looking at the showers sticking around tomorrow, but there's not going to be any issues in terms of that severe weather threat. Now, what we're thinking in terms of problems, again, large hail, damaging straight line winds, likely going to be the two primary problems across mid-Missouri. That tornado threat, again, it's low, but it's not exactly zero, so stay with us as we continue to track that. But what's complicating factors as we get, or one of the complicating factors as we get into this afternoon, is what we call a atmospheric cap, or a temperature inversion is what a lot of folks might know it by. All it is just some warm air a little bit off the surface of the ground, but what it's going to try to do is keep those clouds from forming or keep those storms from forming later on today. So a lot going on, a lot that we're going to be tracking, but what might change the tune on that is some sunshine, and that's what we're tracking right now. But if some clouds redevelop, that'll help that cap out, make it a little bit stronger, make it tougher for some of those storms to get going later on today. So stay with us. Check out that insider blog here right on abc17news.com. We're going to be updating that a lot as we go throughout the rest of our weather alert day. Tomorrow, keep the umbrella handy, but I think we can set it down on Wednesday as we get into the middle of this week. A little cooler, though, the rest of this week. Look at those highs jumping back into the upper 50s tomorrow. We'll hang on to the 60s the rest of this week, though.